This morning, two Gaston County parents are facing charges after their 8-month-old overdosed. 29-year-old Kayla William and 33-year-old Bobby McKinney were both arrested on Monday. Police say they found the infant unconscious and not breathing at a Bessemer City home last week. The child was taken to the hospital and is recovering. Both parents are being held without bond.
And we do have an active accident. It's right here on your TV screen. It's on South Tryon Street after Steelcroft Parkway. Keep that in mind. Otherwise, here's a live camera shot. This is I-85 at Sam Wilson Road. Area roadways are very wet, so take it easy. Lots of crashes out there already this morning, but this one seems to be something that you'll need to keep on top of mind because it's on Greer Road at W.T. Harris Boulevard. You can see the crash. It's in the middle of the intersection, so it's going to cause some delays in all directions. Chris.
Round two is upon us. Anyone in this area of pink here, so Charlotte smack dab in the middle of that, has a chance for some flash flooding and flooding rains. We're already seeing rain rates get up to and over in about a ½ inch to 3/4 inch per hour. It's really right now until about 10 o'clock that we're expecting the most active rain for York, Gaston, over into Union and Mecklenburg County, where we had multiple flash flood warnings yesterday. We're weather alert for the first half of the day. I think we start drying out during the afternoon. After that, we get a little bit warmer each day. Back to the 80s this weekend. Should be close to 90 again by next Wednesday. So back to normal.
Summer will be back. Well, a reminder, the news does not end here, folks. Coming up at 7 a.m. over on WCNC Plus, we are keeping you weather alert this morning, as Chris just mentioned, as that rain continues to fall throughout the morning. Plus, if a cool down is making you long for winter, you are in luck. We'll check in with one athlete with her sights set on the Olympics coming up in the winter, and how you can make a difference with the gift of school supplies.
That starts in just a few minutes at 7 a.m. on WCNC Plus. We'll see you there. Hope you have an amazing morning.
right, streaming live right now at 7 a.m. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday morning. A live look right now over local interstates. And folks, a weather impact alert and flood watch both in effect this morning because of the possibility of more heavy rain, similar to what we saw yesterday. Thanks for starting your morning with us here at 7 a.m. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Kaylin Hagwood in for Lisa. Today's rain does come on top of some dangerous flooding in areas yesterday. Just take a look at this video out of South Charlotte. You can see this car trying to drive through some high water there as a CMPD officer tries to chase it down and say, hey, stop, turn around. It only gets deeper from here. Well, after a while, the car did eventually turn around, but certainly putting their vehicle at risk and perhaps even themselves. I want to bring in our Chris Mulcahy into this. Chris, you know, we always say this whenever we have rain events, turn around, don't drown. You know, they were putting their car at risk. I just don't understand why someone would do that.
They were putting the officer at risk.
Yeah.
Kudos to that officer.
Thank you. I think the biggest problem with this is a lot of people, and who knows what's going on in their life? Who knows why they want to maybe risk that to get to the other side or wherever they're going. But you're putting other people's lives in danger because that water was moving much faster further up on the bridge. Meanwhile, you don't know the integrity of the road. You don't know how deep it dips down. By the way, if you're in a small compact car and your tailpipe goes underwater, engine could be going bye-bye anyways. So you're also putting your car at risk. So yeah, it's just not worth it for multiple reasons, but especially the life-threatening factor. And I hate to say it again, today we have another chance that we could see similar situations. So don't be that person no matter what. Just find a different route, even if it's going to delay you. But I want to show you so far the rain that we've seen over the last 12 hours. Already upwards to around a ½ inch and above. So seeing these rain rates really escalate over the next couple of hours, I think really puts us in that window of opportunity. I would say over the next 3 hours, the best chance for widespread rain that could lead to widespread flooding. Yesterday, we had some totals that were astronomical, like 4.33 inches in Rock Hill. By the way, this site first started recording precipitation totals back in 1999. That was the third highest we have seen since they started that record keeping over 25 years ago. Now, the #1 spot went to Helene. This is also some of the highest rain totals we've had since Helene, and this wasn't even a thunderstorm or a tropical storm event. So that's really the anomaly that we have here. It was just that light to moderate rain over several hours that did get a little bit heavier. That's why some areas like Collinswood Elementary and the YMCA Camp Thunderbird saw over 5 inches of rain, but still over 4 inches at South Mech High, Providence High, many locations south of Uptown and even Uptown included. Our excessive rain impact showing a low to a medium threat for flash flooding. What I think is interesting about this map, I didn't make this one. This is by the Weather Prediction Center, that it isn't a little bit further off towards the west. And because we have ample moisture in the atmosphere, so this area of yellow is more of the drier air. This plume of blue is more of that really just moisture-ridden air. But this area of pink that I have here is actually a mesoscale discussion by the same bureau, the Weather Prediction Center, saying, hey, if you live in this area, you have a chance for more flash flooding. The soils are prime. We have some elevated creeks and rivers from yesterday that haven't quite calmed down, pretty close to where they should be. So that means that any heavy rain that we see, and we're seeing a lot of pockets of it, could eventually lead to more flooding. So just be careful, keep that in mind. If you know that you live in a floodplain, you know what floods, so just don't do what that car did as we just showed you a few minutes ago. Here's the heavy rain. This is what I don't like to see, because this is now pushing into Rock Hill that is already swollen with the amount of water that we have seen so far. And it's a slow mover, only about 20 miles per hour. So just like yesterday, this rain gets to the Charlotte area, York County, Mecklenburg County, and really screeches on the brakes. So here's what it looks like for our future cast. I think it's really over the next hour or two that we see the heaviest rain cross I-77. Once you get to about 10 o'clock, I think most of the heavy rain is clear from Charlotte and Rock Hill, but then you have the next up, Concord, Monroe, Salisbury, over to Wadesboro. You're seeing the heaviest rain. By the time we get to about noon, I think most of it is clear. Still seeing some impacts, say around Stanley County, who did have a flash flood warning around the same time as what Mecklenburg did as well. And then by the middle of the afternoon, we're clearing a lot of this out. Now, I'm happy to say that things are better after this, but really over the next few hours, especially, I want you to stay weather alert and don't make any unnecessary risks, because we could have some quick rising water along those creeks and streams. By the back end of the day, we're dropping that weather alert off. By your Thursday, upper 70s, and then we have the mid 80s through this weekend. We should be back to around 90 degrees next Wednesday. It's a wet wet road, but let's see how it's affecting your morning commute with Majestic.
Good morning, everyone. Want to let you know about an active accident that is ongoing. Here's a picture of it. It's on South Tryon Street, just after Steel Croft. You can see it's off to the side, but cars are a little jam-packed at this point, so just keep that in mind as you're heading out the door. It may delay you a couple of minutes. We'll keep a close eye on it. I'll let you know when it is cleared. I-85 here at Sam Wilson Road. It is a dreary start to the day. Area roadways are soaking wet, and yeah, at times the rain's going to be coming down a little more heavy, so just make sure you are allowing for some extra time to get to where you need to be safely. We have rain that's spreading across the radar. Area roads are wet for most of us. Want to let you know about this. It's on Greer Road at W.T. Harris Boulevard. Here's a picture of it. It's an injury incident. It's in the middle of the intersection right here, and we have delays coming in from all directions. So keep that in mind if you typically drive that way. And if you're coming inbound on Independence, we do have an accident. It's on Independence and Village Lake Drive. You can see some of that yellow, just indicating that there are some slowdowns there. Lots of rain coming in our way. We're going to have more on your traffic report coming up here in just a few. Ben.
All right, Majestic, thanks. The chance for more flooding this morning, and a lot of places are still drying out. It might still be underwater.
WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane joining us live now. And Richard, we know that some of the creeks could not keep up with all that rainfall. How can folks be prepared today?
Yeah, the best thing they can do is just keep watching us and pay attention to, because what happened yesterday may happen again today. Right now, a lot of the grounds are drying out, I should say, but that could all change just like it did yesterday, all in a flash. The heavy rain triggered that flooding across the Charlotte region yesterday. This led to major traffic disruptions as well as road closures. Now, our weather impact team issued a weather alert as storms moved through early in the day. That kept everyone up to date on the conditions. Flash flood warnings were issued for Mecklenburg, Stanley, York counties. This after that narrow band of rain dumped up to 5 inches in some parts of our area. Ankle-deep water reported across several roadways, and traffic slowed to a crawl on I-77, 85, and 485. There were multiple accidents reported during the morning commute, and Wilkinson Boulevard near Sam Wilson Road in West Charlotte saw standing water. That affected inbound traffic near the airport. Now, South Charlotte and Rock Hill also pelted with that heavy rains. Residents we spoke to say they spent some time cleaning up today, and they'll also spend a lot of time trying to dry out.
You live on a hill, and the water, just the rain and the rushing water down my driveway just has created some erosion. I'm concerned about that. I'm going to have that looked at and have it fixed, hopefully coming up soon. But I want to make sure it's something that's going to last. And if we get continued bad rainstorms, I want to make sure that it's not going to be something I have to rebuild every year.
My fiance woke up at like 8 o'clock, and it was probably about not even halfway up the pole of where that sign was, and I got up and I came out here and it was a little bit lower, and now it is awful.
Yeah, and just hearing those stories, you understand that for some folks it'll just be a point of drying out, maybe a little cleaning up, but like that First Lady, she's worried about a possible erosion that can continue on and on. So a lot of folks will not only be cleaning up, they'll be assessing, and most everyone in our area will be preparing for whatever happens today. That's the story right here in Matthews. We'll send it back to you.
Richard, you've got the benefit of about 20 years of reporting in this city. From your experience, for the people at home, what are typically some of the worst areas that seem to flood the fastest? I think about North Tryon, about 2 blocks outside of Uptown, always floods. But there's a lot of places like that.
Yeah. There were a lot of places like that, and then I was listening to Chris this morning. He always gives us a weather update in the mornings, talking about some things. And one of the things that was really surprising was hearing him talk about some areas that normally flooded, didn't flood. Also told us that things like some of the greenways are supposed to flood or are set up that way. There are things that we learn every day. We listen to our meteorology team. They have some excellent information, but as you said, there are certain areas that we always know we can go to, certain places in Concord that we've gone to, places in Charlotte, East Charlotte, even in the other counties that we know this is a flood prone area. When they get the heavy rain, it's going to flood. Yesterday was kind of surprising because there were some areas we were expecting to go to that we didn't, and then of course there were areas that did flood that we were prepared for. But all in all, we're working around the clock, and This was just a weird one. So you never can tell with Mother Nature.
Could never tell. That's true. All right, Richard Devane reporting live for us there in Matthews. Richard, thank you, sir.
We'll keep it here. We'll be back in just 2 minutes. Welcome back to WCNC Plus. Taking a live look right now at Lake Norman. We are weather impact alert with some areas under a flood watch this morning because of all of that heavy rain we're expecting, and rain we've already seen just yesterday. Chris Mulcahy will have a check of your forecast in just minutes. But despite the rain, law enforcement agencies across our area did host National Night Out events last night. The goal is to promote safety and strengthen community relationships before anything bad happens. WCNC Charlotte's Julie Kay shows us how the Cabarrus County Sheriff's Office is working to reach young people.
Yeah, all sorts of vendors here tonight, even some live wildlife to get those kids involved and excited. I spoke with the county sheriff about why getting them so involved so early is especially important with a recent rise in youth violence. Cloudy skies turned Concord's National Night Out into a night in. But for the Beaver family, the message was still just as clear.
To learn how the police officers
and not be scared of them.
Nicole and Josh are parents to 2 kids, Clayton and Briley.
I see a snake.
But the couple used to be first responders, which is why they decided to come out Tuesday night.
Just getting them out and getting them familiarized. That way they know who to run to.
The goal is to make law enforcement more accessible to the community, especially to kids. Cabarrus County Sheriff Van Shaw says this event grows every year, but so does a trend of youth violence nationwide.
I think everybody's experiencing some uptick in youth crime. And, do I know the reason behind it? No. I think there's a lot of different variables that come into play. And so we've got to do everything we can.
The NC Department of Public Safety found Cabarrus had 621 juvenile complaints in 2024, up from 525 the year prior. Sheriff Shaw says that's why it's important to start these bonds early so that kids know how to be safe for others and themselves.
Fire, EMS, police, and not be scared of them. They're here to help us.
Check his neck again. Is he breathing?
In Concord, Julie Kay, WCNC Charlotte.
New this morning, a second suspect is under arrest in connection to an April homicide on Eastway Drive in Charlotte. Noel Vasquez is charged with first-degree murder. This just weeks after Jeffrey Artesia was arrested in connection to the same shooting. Police say Javier Hernandez was shot several times at Mi Cabana nightclub and wasn't helped. The nightclub lost its liquor license in July after it failed an inspection. Vasquez is set to appear in court at 10 today.
Now, an update this morning on a Charlotte mother killed by a stray bullet. The remaining 2 suspects in the shooting death of Kendall Crank have now both accepted plea deals. Tychicus Doby and Marcus Smith both face multiple charges and prison time. Back in 2019, Crank was hit by a stray bullet during a shootout. The 3rd suspect in the case, Adonis Smith, has since been released from jail following a mistrial.
And as we go to break, with the help of the Charlotte area Hyundai dealers, we're looking for our next hometown hero. We're recognizing your everyday hero, someone who goes above and beyond to make the community a better place. Just visit WCNC.com/hometown hero between now and August 17th to nominate someone. And if they win, they'll get a brand new 2025 Hyundai Santa Fe.
We're back in 2 minutes.
All right, welcome back, everybody. So I want to get right to this. So I was measuring some of the rain rates. We have different sites across the area that we're able to see, hey, how much rain is falling every 5 minutes? That's much better than a radar estimate. So we physically at Lake Wiley Elementary just have been measuring anywhere from 0.05 of an inch to about 1/10 of an inch every 5 minutes. So that translates to about 0.6 to over an inch of rain per hour. So keep that in mind. This rain is now over TGK, Lake Wiley, pushing its way off towards the northeast. I saw about 1/10 of an inch per hour right around Garrison Road in the western side of Charlotte. So we're now in the thick of it. This is going to be the heaviest rain that we have in the morning. That's why we're going weather alert, because yet again, you have the same setup. You have a train of rain. Even though there's no thunderstorms involved with this, better chance for thunderstorms down towards the south. Persistent rain over a long period of time, and it could be the next 3 hours, just like yesterday. Now, do I think that we're going to get the 5-inch mark? No. But do I think that we could easily pick up about 2 to maybe even 3 inches of rain? Yeah, that's going to be a possibility. But especially now over the next couple of hours that you're going to have that highest threat. The flash flood warning that you're seeing above my head is not for our area. That's actually picking up down here in South Carolina, but then also this one over here near Raleigh. So multiple flash flood warnings across the area, just not here as of yet. As far as our future goes over the coming days, we're going to have on and off rain with spotty shower potential. It's this morning that's going to be our heaviest rain profile and our best chance over the coming days. So here's what it looks like. Futurecast lining up with all that rain that's currently over in York County, pushing into the western side of Mecklenburg County. We can expect, I think, the wettest time period for the I-77 corridor to be right now until about 9 to 10 o'clock. So about now to 10 is where we're expecting the highest rain rates. And then once you get to about 10 to noon, you're still seeing all of this push its way further off towards the east. And I think we should be pretty much clear of most of the precipitation by about noon. I think the latest this would go is to about 2 o'clock. We're even seeing signs of the clouds breaking up and some sunshine and thunderstorm potential up in the mountains. So one more look at our futurecast, seeing again 10 o'clock to about noon. Most of the activity out of there. Could have some lingering rain as early as about noon to 1, but then after that, just pretty much an overcast day. It's also going to be a much cooler day as well. Not as cool as yesterday. High temperatures only reaching the lower 70s, but at least we are going to be drier for the afternoon. So I have a high of 73, still feeling like the middle part of October. Better chance for a drier atmosphere by the end of the day. And then once you get to the back end of the forecast real quick, I want to get over to our 7-day forecast. You can see the temperatures are on the rise. So this is the bottom, everybody. We just got to get through this morning, this afternoon. Tomorrow, slight chance for rain back to the upper 70s, the 80s this weekend beyond. We should even be close to 90 degrees by next Wednesday. Let's get over to Majestic as the rain picks up. So does the traffic incidents.
All right, good morning, everyone. Here's a live camera shot outside. This is I-85. We are seeing very wet conditions out there, really for most of us. So really make sure you're slowing it down. You can see most of these cars are flowing just fine. We do want to break down a few things, though, because a lot of the rain is spreading across our viewing area. Greer Road, this has still not been cleared. It's ongoing. It's at Greer Road and W.T. Harris Boulevard. You can see a picture of it here. Injury incident in the middle of the intersection. It's causing delays in all directions. So give yourself a few extra minutes if you typically drive that way. In addition to that, Independence inbound, we do have a crash here at Village Lake Drive. Heading to the north now, this now popping up. It's a crash on 36th Street and Tryon Street, seeing some minimal impacts there, but overall all of this green is radar where the rain is currently coming down. Heaviest right now west of Charlotte and especially through York County. We'll have another check on those area roadways coming up here shortly.
Hi, this is sprinkle time for today's tiny town. Happens to be Lawndale, North Carolina, just north of Shelby and just northwest of Cherryville. Lawndale, very small, tiny town. In fact, the population is only 570 over there in Cleveland County area, 0.86 square miles, so less than 1 square mile. By the way, the town got its name from all the nice lawns over there when it was originally founded back in the early 1900s. And yes, they actually even have a small downtown area. Once again, today's tiny town is Lawndale, North Carolina, over in Cleveland County. I'm Larry Sprinkle.
Well, today marks exactly 6 months until the Winter Olympics in Milan. And as we speak, athletes around the world and right here at home are in the final stretch of preparations.
Despite the warmer weather, WCNC Charlotte Sports Director Nick Carboni spoke to one Olympic hopeful who's staying busy here in Charlotte.
Well, believe it or not, we have some Olympic bobsled hopefuls training here in Charlotte. No, we don't have a bobsled track, but we do have the U.S. Performance Center. We told you about this facility on UNC Charlotte's campus during the Summer Olympics in Paris. Founded by Ike Belk and David Kerner, the center offers state-of-the-art training and equipment that has attracted teams and athletes. So for a bobsledder like Emily Renna, before she gets on a bobsled track later this fall up north, this is where she's optimizing the speed and power she needs to make the team.
So I think the biggest benefit for me to be here too is that they have all of this Kaiser equipment that has real-time feedback on power output, force output, speed. So you can take those things and tailor your program to be super unique to you. So what I might do might be versus something different that a different bobsledder will do. So it's going to help me at the end be the best athlete that I can be.
Renna has had quite the journey to this sport. She's a former college hurdler. She was tired of working a corporate gig and found bobsledding. Now she's one of the best Americans in the sport, and she's got a great shot to make the Olympic team.
Yeah, I definitely find myself often thinking about like what it would feel like, picturing myself on that stage, visualizing, being on the podium, being in the bobsled, just being there and just, hoping that gets to come true.
All right, wishing her the best. Renna helped the United States to a top 5 finish at the World Championships earlier this year. She hopes to be on that World Cup team in November and, of course, the Olympic team in 6 months. For WCNC Charlotte, I'm Nick Carboni.
In just hours, the Carolina Panthers will hold their first joint practice. Carolina will practice against the Cleveland Browns, and if it's anything like yesterday, it's going to be a wet, messy practice.
Yeah, they're ready for it. This is just one of the final tune-ups as the two teams get ready to play each other in Friday's preseason matchup. That game kicks off at 7 at Bank of America Stadium.
All right, take a look at this live pictures right now. This is actually a view of Uptown. You can't really tell because of the raindrops on the camera and those low-lying clouds out there. Chris standing by with another look at the forecast. And folks, the rain right now falling is pretty much the worst of the morning. He's standing by with a look at your forecast next.
Getting right into it, weather alert this morning. We have more heavy rain that is now actively upon us. I've been measuring some of the sites around town, and we're seeing up to about 0.05 to a tenth of an inch every 5 minutes in some of these bands of rain. That's now pushing through a maximum intensity right around Fort Mill and also drawing into the Queen City. So going to be a rough morning commute for a lot of you. Here's what you can expect. I think right now until about 10 is we're expecting the heaviest rain across the greater Charlotte area, and that does include swinging over into Concord, the eastern side of Charlotte, Mint Hill, Matthews, over into Monroe. Once you get to about 10 to noon, I think you just have some leftover light rain. And by the early afternoon, we're clearing things out. Should be cloudy besides a passing shower or two. And then once we get past today, it'll be a much bigger warm up, highs in the lower 70s today. And then after that, we should be back in the 80s by this weekend. But rain usually leads to a busy commute. Let's check with Majestic.
Good morning, everyone. It is 7:27 if you are getting ready to head out the door. My map is very busy, so as you are getting ready to head out, make sure you allow for a few extra minutes because some of that rain is coming down quite intensely, especially right there, I-77 inbound. You can see the colors popping up, those big blobs of yellow. That's where the rain's coming down a little bit more intensely. There's a live camera shot of how slow the traffic is moving inbound. No accident right now. Just take it slow, and we'll have more updates on WCNC Plus.
morning and thank you for joining us here live on WCNC Plus at 7:30. I'm Kaylin Hackwood.
And I'm Ben Thompson. A weather impact alert in effect at this hour. Heavy rain falling even as we speak. Let's get right over to Chris for the latest.
Thanks a lot, Ben and Kaylin. This is the heaviest rain rates I think you could see over the next 3 hours. So here it is. The heaviest rain right now around Rock Hill. And then we take a break. Still light to moderate rain behind this. And then another pulse is already pushing into the western side of York County. Now note, York County, Mecklenburg County, Union County are some of the highest totals that we saw across the area, but especially York and Mecklenburg that both had flash flood warnings that went until about 4:15 to 4:45 depending. Now our precipitation rates have come down a little bit right around McConnell's, but I was measuring things that were over about a ½ inch to 3/4 of an inch per hour. Some of these bands and some of these brighter oranges representing over an inch of rain per hour. So we're not seeing any flood problems as of yet, but the thing with flooding is it's not just rain intensity, it's also duration. So since this is going to stick around for a couple of hours with already some swollen creeks and streams and saturated soils, we'll have a chance for some quick rising water. So we'll keep you updated here on WCNC Plus as this progresses. But I really think by about 10 o'clock, I think most of the heavy rain is going to be clear from the Charlotte area. By about noon, we're starting to see the back edge of this rain get out of here in the I-77 corridor. And then it should just be an overcast day and even a brighter overcast by the back end of the afternoon, allowing temperatures to get back into the lower 70s. Current temperatures right now, 64 degrees here around Lincoln, 65 degrees right around Charlotte. And then the umbrella day continues. Still an October-like forecast, though. The average high for about the middle of October is anywhere from about 72 to 74 degrees. Well, that's exactly where we're going to be today. But luckily, we're going to be drying out, and then we're heading into a nice little pattern after that. A closer look at today, lower 70s to continue the late afternoon. Winds also picking up slightly as well, gusting to about 15 to 20 max. But your 7-day forecast, as you can see, by the time you get to the Charlotte FC game, maybe an isolated thunderstorm would be a possibility of temperatures in the upper 70s. I think we stay dry, though. Closer to 80 degrees for the Panthers preseason game. Good news to actually see the sunshine return then. And then the mid-80s Saturday and Sunday. You don't see it now, but it looks like by about next Wednesday and Thursday, we should be back around 90 degrees. So August weather returns. In the meantime, it's more like early fall for at least the time being. Let's head over to Majestic on this wet morning commute.
All right, want to give you an update. This is a live camera picture, video of I-77 at Graham Street, where there currently is an accident. The left shoulder is blocked. It's impacting those southbound lanes again at exit 40. That's Graham Street, and it's backed up to West Sugar Creek Road. That's exit 41. So you can see traffic's just moving a little bit slower. That's really what we're seeing all across the area as that rain continues to come down. As we switch it over to my map, look at all those triangles. You see that? That means a lot of our area roadways are still blocked off because of all the flooding that we had yesterday. So if you're traveling and you come across a blocked off road, remember it's blocked off for a reason. Do not go past it. You don't know whether or not the road has washed away or how deep that remaining water still is. So turn around. You don't want to drive through that. One thing I want to let you know about is I-77 coming in from York County. You are moving very, very slowly. I actually don't have an accident right on I-77 right around that area, but you see that big blob of yellow? That's where the rain's coming down very intensely. Just putting things into perspective, this is what it looks like. People are all coming inbound. It's a very typical start to the day as far as a lot of people heading in the same direction, but it doesn't help when we have that heavy rain. So it's going to be slow moving on I-77. That's out towards Gold Hill, but the backup is all the way up towards exit 90. That's Carowinds. In addition to that, this is still not clear. It's on Greer Road at W.T. Harris Boulevard. Here's a crash or a picture of the crash here. Injury incident here at the intersection causing delays in all directions. So allow for some extra drive time if you're heading that way. Otherwise, Independence, make sure you're taking it slow. Still watching this one. It's a crash on Independence and Village Lake Drive. And then in addition to that, on 36th Street and Tryon Street, there is a wreck that is bringing some minimal impact, seeing some yellow right around that area. As you can see, though, it's a very busy start to our Wednesday morning commute. So take it easy as that rain continues to fall. Kaylin.
All right, Majestic, thanks. Right now, Mecklenburg County leaders are weighing some big decisions that could impact your wallet. County commissioners are considering raising the sales tax, and they want to hear your thoughts later tonight. WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards has been following this story. And Destiny, we know this all relates to the transportation plan. Tell us what people can expect.
Yeah, tonight county commissioners are holding a public hearing on that proposal to raise the local sales tax by 1%. And then after that, they're not voting on the tax itself, but voting on whether to let voters in Mecklenburg County decide on that tax come this November. Now, this measure all stems from the recently passed PAVE Act. And if approved by voters this fall, the sales tax rate would rise to 8.25%. The county says the money would fund road improvements, expanded light rail, and a better bus service. A new regional transit authority would manage most of the funding, and local leaders say it could open the door for even bigger expansion.
We will now have the opportunity for the entire county to back not only CATS, but the rest of the transportation system. There will be opportunities for expansion. There will be opportunities for some of our neighboring counties to come and join potentially.
The Board of Commissioners meeting starts at 5 p.m. tonight, and if you'd like to participate in that public hearing, it's at 6:30 p.m. at the Charlotte Mecklenburg Government Center in Uptown. Ben, Caitlin.
And Destiny, we know that there's been so much work that's been going on behind the scenes and in public meetings, just trying to get this on the ballot for folks to be able to vote on when it comes to this transit plan. At this point, kind of talk about what it means for the city to even be at this stage in the process that transit could end up on the ballot.
Yeah, so leading up to now, it was really just deciding on the referendum language. And that's basically what people will see on the ballot. They'll be able to decide, if they are for or against, basically what you see after you fill out your ballot for all of the local races. So on November 5th, if the commissioners, pass this and say, this is the language, we approve of it, this is what's going to be put on there, the Board of Elections, they will then put it on the ballot this November. And it's definitely something that's going to, be felt by a lot of people. The sales tax is what is added on to purchases of clothing, electronics, dining out, things like that. And then this is going to, have a bigger payoff for roads and transit around our city. So, and it'll have more ripple effects to not just Mecklenburg County, but surrounding counties as well.
I know if it doesn't pass this fall, the mayor's told me that she'll push to have it put back on the ballot for next fall. All right, Destiny Richards reporting live for us. Destiny, thank you. Folks, if you're about to head out the door, it is a mess outside. We're standing by with a look at your traffic and weather coming up right after this in 2 minutes.
Welcome back, everyone. So I want to show you the difference from yesterday to today. One, we already have one major difference. You might have heard this if you live around Uptown. We actually just registered some lightning associated with this. So this is indeed a thunderstorm. So some heavier rain rates evolving from this one. But what I'm about to do is I'm about to show you the radar loop from yesterday from about 7 to 10 compared to what we have today. So this is right now. Yesterday, notice the difference. It was a lot more widespread. Yes, you still had some of that intense rain, but there was a much bigger precursor as far as that rain goes. And look at the width of this system. There was a lot of rain here. Meanwhile, if you look at today, it is a lot thinner. And I think this band of rain right here will remain down towards the south. So we still have several hours of rain. Don't get me wrong, a couple of pulses of some heavier rain, even a chance for a thunderstorm and some bolts of lightning as we've just reported locally, but it's not as big of a system. It doesn't look like we're going to have a chance to get up to that 5-inch mark. So I just want everyone to kind of temper expectations. But since we did see all that rain yesterday, we are a lot more flood prone, so you technically don't need as much rain. Some areas I think could still see up to 1 to 2 plus inches, but most of us less than an inch. We're expecting most of this heavy rain to be clear by about noon, leftover precipitation into the early afternoon, and then after that, even a chance for some sunshine further off towards the west and a brighter sky before we get a little bit warmer as we work our way through the week. I'll have your full forecast coming up here shortly, but first, Majestic, it's getting busy out there.
It is. Want to show you a live camera shot. This is of I-85 at Graham Street where we do have an accident. We don't have a specific camera on it, but you can tell that backup is starting southbound lanes right there. Those roads are just soaking wet, starting to see a little bit of that ponding with that water standing on those area roadways. So slow it down, because if you're going too fast and you hit that, you could actually hydroplane very, very quickly. You see all these triangles across my map? That's indicating that we have several roads that are continued to be blocked off and closed because of the flooding yesterday. So if you just so happen to come across that, do not go past the barricade, because there's a reason that the roads are blocked. I-77 is crawling because we have some very heavy rain coming down right now in parts of York County. This is what we're looking at, a live camera shot inbound. Those cars are hardly moving. Again, no accident here. People are just moving very, very slowly as they're making their way towards the Uptown area. You can see a picture of what's going on here, still not cleared, and it's really delaying many people because it's an injury incident. The intersection, it's right there where the crash is, and it's causing delays in all directions. It's on Greer Road and W.T. Harris Boulevard. In addition to that, Independence inbound, those delays are starting, but not helpful with that crash there on Village Lake Drive. And then to the north, we have another crash on 36th Street and Tryon Street. So the rain is continuing to come down, and it's coming down quite intensely, especially when you see this orange right here. Here's a new crash. It's on Mint Street and Moorhead Street. It's right in the middle of the road. You can see it here, and probably the weather is playing a role in that as well. Big picture perspective, you can see lots going on this morning. If you do have places to be, make sure you allow for extra drive time to get to where you need to be, and also make sure you're not so close to the car in front of you. Allow for plenty of space in between the two. We'll have another check on those roads coming up here shortly. Ben.
Majestic, thanks. 7:43 right now here on WCNC Plus, and with back to school season, some parents may be thinking about after school options for your kids.
The YMCA does offer after school programs and transportation services for those who need them. WCNC Charlotte's Bria Smith is here with more on how you can sign up. Good morning, Bria.
Good morning to you all. Well, the after-school program is offered at 11 of the Charlotte region YMCAs, with registration now open to students.
We know that childcare is just a really big need for families across the Charlotte area, and so I would say that we have put a lot of attention into building a really high-quality program and also making sure that it's affordable for families.
A quality program that offers parents flexibility and children the opportunity to continue growing outside the classroom.
We do offer homework time for our students, but we also spend a lot of our time just on the fun stuff that kids look forward to. So we're getting them outside in the fresh air, we are playing games, we're doing art projects. We're really trying to provide a lot of enrichment to really make sure that when they get out of school, they're just being kids and having a great time with us.
Amanda Wilkinson is the VP of Youth and Family Experience for the YMCA Charlotte area. She says the program also works closely with local school districts to provide transportation. However, to schedule a bus pickup from a school, there must be a minimum of 5 students from that school.
In order to enroll, it's really simple for parents. You can see all of our locations online. You would find the location that matches your child's, neighborhood and school and register online. If you have any questions at all about whether, your child's school buses to our Y, our team can definitely help families navigate that to confirm that, transportation can be provided.
Bria, we know this is such a big issue for almost all families out there. And the thing is, the YMCA also offer programs, not just for day-to-day use, but those times when you might not expect it.
Absolutely. Those times are like holidays, teachers' days off, and there's still opportunity to sign up if you haven't already. So if you're still needing some after-school program, they are urging people. They do like to keep their, open availability open for anyone who needs it. So there isn't a cutoff date, but just make sure that you are signing up if you need that.
All right, Bria, thanks so much.
All right, well, as kids head back to school, we're teaming up with United Way for a school supply drive to help students in need.
WCNC Charlotte's Larry Sprinkle shows us how your donation can make a difference.
It's that time of year again. Excitement is in the air as students get ready to climb aboard those school buses and head back to class. But for many local students, the start of school also means worrying about having enough school supplies. The good news, United Way of Greater Charlotte is teaming up with WCNC Charlotte to help change that.
One thing that we know is that the agencies who we fund who are working directly with families in our 4-county footprint, one thing that we all agree on is that children need tools and resources to start their year off.
Jamise Ivy is the Chief Impact Officer at United Way.
Our funded partners, we have realized 25% of them do directly work with children, and that might be after school programming, that may be tutoring, just enrichment that we know that students need for school, and they all come back to us and say that a lot of our families in our 4-county footprint really do need those tools like the school supplies.
The organization is committed to equipping students with the tools and resources they need to learn, grow, and thrive. One of their partner agencies is the Academy of Goal Achievers. Courtney Goebel shares how rising school supply costs are impacting older students.
Usually those expenses are increased. You go from getting a pencil that your child may need in elementary school to now you get in high school and the expenses increase. Not only just school supplies, but now they're competing against school supplies, athletics with sports. Parents are having more money come out of their pockets to make sure their students can get the full bus of education, and school supplies is one of the most important things.
The Academy of Goal Achievers has touched the lives of thousands through its youth service initiatives.
And we know we can send Goal Achievers back to school with their school supplies. Our students are going to be more engaged. They can be more prone to complete their school assignments, and they're going to walk into school doors with more confidence. And that's exactly what we want.
You can make a difference. Your donation today can help students start the school year strong and stay on track for a bright future.
Yeah, you're helping families that cares about education. You are helping families that need the support, that want to make sure that their students go to school with the most confidence, increase their grades, because too, that you go to schools with the supplies you need, your kids going to do their work.
Visit our website, WCNC.com, to find a special link to give. At United Way, I'm Larry Sprinkle, WCNC Charlotte.
And we are hosting a phone bank for our supply drive from 11 to 12:30 and then again from 4 to 6:30. So as long as you're watching WCNC Charlotte, there are opportunities to give. Would love to see you make a donation.
Perfect. All right, folks, we are weather impact alert this morning for your morning commute. More on your forecast and traffic in just 2 minutes.
Well, good morning, everybody. We're tracking more heavy rain that's pushing past the area. I'm even calling for a thunderstorm right now. And check it out. Here are the big raindrops that we actually have here on top of our station, our WCNC roof camera. You can't see Charlotte. Now, this has a really good zoom. We love using this in the mornings. Oftentimes, you see beautiful pinks across the horizon. No, not this morning. Can't even see Charlotte. This is very reminiscent of what we had at this time yesterday. Couldn't see in front of you. And look very closely. Notice how this graphic has a little pink shading. That is actually a mesoscale discussion by the Weather Prediction Center. And that's just fancy meteorological jargon, meaning that, hey, they're looking at this area for the best chance for flooding across the country, or one of the best areas, at least in the near term. So it's right in the center. We have Charlotte, Rock Hill, Monroe. That's where we saw anywhere from 2 to 5 inches of rain yesterday. So it's always going to pique our attention a little bit more. Here's what I'm talking about, though. See these little plus signals? Yeah. That is representing positive lightning strikes. So precipitation rates right now anywhere from about 1/4 to over 1/2 inch per hour. It is coming down right now around uptown, around the I-77 corridor, with even more rain further off towards the west. And the back edge of this doesn't have as heavy rain as what we're dealing with right now. But since we are popping up some thunderstorms, that would be an intensified rain rate from place to place. So we're still going to have a chance for some flash flooding. Now, the good news is I don't think that we have as long of a duration as what we had yesterday of that moderate to heavy rain, which is going to help us out, but still a chance for flooding. So it's an umbrella day regardless, feeling like October. Still heading into the early afternoon, we have a slight chance for rain, but I think it's a better chance by about the 1 to 5 o'clock hour. We should be on the drier end. Yesterday, we only hit a high of 69. Today, at least, we're going to be in the lower 70s, better by the afternoon. And outside of today, we have no big chance for rain. And when I say outside of today, it really should be outside of this morning. That's where we're anticipating most of the heavy rain. Because over the next 24 hours, our system is going to finally move out. A high pressure system will retreat. Usually we like these guys, but we've been stuck in what's called cold air damming. So that's continual cloud cover, and then oftentimes can be continued rain. And that's exactly what we've been seeing. And meanwhile, we also have a tropical system that's off the coast. We'll have a new update with this coming up in the next few minutes for the National Hurricane Center. But this looks like it's going to potentially work its way further off towards the north and east, potentially becoming a tropical system, but not really affecting us in the near term. 70 forecast. Today is the coolest day. Outside of the next few, we're in the 70s, and then eventually heading into the 80s. Should be back close to 90 degrees by the middle of next week. Majestic, how's it looking this morning? Rain definitely affecting things.
Not looking good, that's for sure. This is I-85 at Graham Street. You can see how wet those area roadways are. Southbound lanes are moving a little slower because we do have an accident out there. You can still see cars are moving, but rather slowly because of that ongoing problem. I-85 is not the only place that I'm watching, though. We're keeping our eyes on a lot of things. My map is just very busy. All these triangles are indicating those blocked roads because of flooding from yesterday and perhaps heavy flooding that's ongoing, or heavy rain that's ongoing right now. So do not go past any barricades if you do see that. New accident right now. It's on I-485, the outer loop at Mount Holly Road as exit 14. It's now backed up to the Brookshire Boulevard area. So make sure you're mindful that that red is indicating stop and go traffic. It's a similar setup right along I-77 in York County, and it's not because there's an accident. I mean, we're not seeing any accidents right here, but this yellow and orange is indicating that rain is coming down very intensely for that area as people are making their way inbound, and this is how people are reacting, moving very slowly as they're making their trek northward. So do the same if you have to be out on those area roadways. We'll have another check on those roads, all coming up here shortly.
All right, thank you so much, Majestic. Taking a live look over the WCNC Charlotte roof camera. Hard to see uptown through all of that rain and mugginess. It is getting wet out there, folks. We got another check of your weather and traffic coming up, and then more headlines at the top of the hour.
It is awful out there. You're seeing anywhere from moderate to heavy rain across the 485 loop. This is affecting traffic. We'll get to Majestic in just 1 minute. And you can see that there's a lot of widespread rain all across the area. Now, there's going to be constant pulses of some heavier rain, but it looks like it's still going to rain over the next few hours. By the end of the morning, we'll start to erode a lot of this rain cover and then eventually just lead to an overcast sky. So I think the heaviest rain is falling right now over the next 3 hours. Should have light rain to complete the morning, and then by about the early to middle part of the afternoon, we should be clear, should be dry, at least for the Charlotte area, keeping those clouds around, and then we're completely rain-free by the end of the afternoon. 7-day forecast has this weather alert for the first half of today, then back to the 80s by this weekend with a much drier forecast. But Majestic, it is getting busy out there. What's going on?
Oh, I-85 and I-77 both having some problems out there this morning. Area roads are just soaking wet. This is I-85 out towards Graham Street, where we can't see the wreck, but there is a wreck southbound, so be mindful of that. Cars are still moving, just moving a little slower than they typically would if we didn't have that crash. This blue right here is indicating where we're actually seeing some ponding out on those roads where the water is just starting to really build. So you could hydroplane if you're just going too fast, really slow it down. It's right along I-77, no accidents, but this is what it looks like right now as that rain is coming down quite intensely on I-77 at Gold Hill. We're going to be following this more for you on WCNC Plus.
Streaming live right now at 8 a.m. and a live look right now over I-85. Slow going out there. And folks, it is a mess. A WCNC weather impact alert and flood watch in effect this morning because of more heavy rain. Thanks for starting the 8 a.m. hour here with us on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Caitlin Hagwood in for Lisa. I got our whole team here standing by. I actually want to start with Majestic because it's so interesting when you see that many markers on the traffic map.
There's a lot going on, and I think now that the rain's starting to come down heavier, we're actually seeing a lot of that ponding right along I-77. It's already a very, very well-traveled place. Doesn't matter if we have those wrecks or not, but when we have that added element of heavy rain, possible flooding, we're seeing that stretch of very, very slow conditions. So seeing that, in addition to that, we also have a lot of roads that are blocked from yesterday's flooding events. Yeah. None of them right around the Charlotte metro area that I'm seeing that's really slowing people down, but we have a handful that people just need to be mindful of. If you see a barricade, if you see a blocked off road, there's a reason that that's there. So don't drive through it. You don't know if there's even a road underneath it anymore, or you don't even know how high that water is.
All right. Chris, bring us up to speed where we stand right now.
Heavy rain right now, and the problem is, as Majestic was saying, there's already problems left over from yesterday. So think about that. Think about our drains. They're much fuller than they were yesterday. Our streams are a lot more swollen. The ground is a lot more saturated. So if you add even more rain on top of that, it's going to make flooding and flash flooding even easier. Now, we're not quite there yet. It takes time. But one thing that's a cause of concern for me is, yeah, you're seeing some heavier bands that are popping up here. It looks like a lot of this is popping up and popping down, so not lasting as long as they once did. Also, the system is moving much faster. Yesterday, it slowed down into Charlotte. This time, it looks like it's actually starting to pick up. Good news, but I am seeing some flashes of lightning associated with this. So this does show a little bit more instability. That means we could have some more pockets of some heavier rain. You're especially seeing that over Mount Holly and Belmont for the time being, and also right along Independence, heading up into the eastern side of Charlotte around Noda as well. And then that's also pushing into Concord. So it depends where you are, but our futurecast lining up with the rain that we have right now, it's a little bit wider than what our futurecast is depicting, but it's right now, I would say until about 9:30, 10, that we have the heaviest rain that is pushing across the greater Charlotte area. Now that it's starting to speed up, that's some good news. I still think that the back edge of this could allow for some rain as late as noon or so seeing a wider swath there. And then we just have some leftover spotty showers spitting back and forth overnight tonight, again into tomorrow. Tomorrow we actually could see the sun, so that'll be a nice little treat. And then by your Friday, the same thing goes as well. So certainly an umbrella day, 100% chance it's raining right now across the greater Charlotte area, and that'll be the continual trend over the next few. By the close out of the morning, I think we just have light rain. So the heaviest rain again is pretty much over the next couple of hours, right into the thick of it. And then our temperatures are also on the cooler side, still October-like. This is smack dab in the middle of October for our average highs. And then going forward, we're going to see a gradual warm up in the near term. But I also want to show you our new updated rain totals. I was given it time to refresh. So far this morning already, since midnight, actually over the last 12 hours, Rock Hill already has over an inch of rain. Now the contour in the background hasn't caught up yet, but 0.72 of an inch of rain has fallen across Charlotte. Why is this significant? Because look at the similar map. So now it's not as pretty and not as filled in as what we had yesterday, but yesterday, Rock Hill, Gastonia, Charlotte, Monroe was also included, but Monroe, you will catch up here eventually. Look at those totals, over 2 inches, over 4 inches of Rock Hill. Rock Hill actually had the third highest rain total reported for any given single day since 1999 when they started their rainfall records. This really just puts it in perspective that already, and here I'll backtrack, we're seeing the heaviest rain in areas that saw the heaviest rain yesterday. So that's a cause of concern because we're not quite done. So I want to show you our radar one more time to put this in perspective. We're right smack dab in the middle of some of the heavier rain. Now, luckily for us, it's mainly the backside. It's that moderate, anywhere light rain here and there, but still the darker greens and some of those yellows could produce up to a 1/4 inch per hour. We were still seeing a 1/4 inch per hour when we saw our streams actively rising. Sometimes it's about a hour or even 2 hours after we have the heavy rain that we have some of the hydraulic issues or the ones that are around creeks and streams. So I want everyone to note that really we're in the heart of this weather alert now until about 10 to 11 that we have the best chance for any flooding concerns. And it's going to take a while to get through, even though it is starting to speed up. The back edge of this in the general direction that this band of rain is starting to accelerate is still about 80 miles away. So it's now moving over 20 miles away. It still keeps at least a light rain shower, and that's the minimal around the greater Charlotte area for the next 4 hours or so. So again, I think that's why about noon that we're going to be clearing things out. For a 7-day forecast, as you notice, there's only one sliver of red here that's about to pop up in your screen. Weather alert for the first half of the day. I think that we can drop off the weather alert for the afternoon, especially late afternoon. There could be some lingering flash flood warnings to join us for the afternoon, just like yesterday. But this is mainly a morning event. I think we're going to have the worst of it, just like yesterday. Mid to the upper 70s for your Thursday and Friday. That's good news. So if you're going to any one of those sporting events, Charlotte FC and then the Panthers preseason game, and then we're eventually back to the mid 80s this weekend, and we're even challenging 90 degrees once again. Finally, after 26 days in a row, we took about a 10-day break from it. Should be close to 90 next Wednesday and next Thursday. So it looks like things are starting to repeat themselves, Majestic. I remember you saying ponding, and the next thing you know, we had flooding. So how's it looking now?
We're definitely seeing just soaking wet area roadways. Want to show you some of our live cameras. This is I-77 coming in from York County. Good morning to everyone waking up and joining us here on the stream from South Carolina. You can tell how wet those roads are. A couple of things that I'm continuing to watch will be I-85 at Graham Street. You can't see the accident, but there is a wreck that's impacting some of those southbound lanes. This has been a big watch spot for me this morning. This is I-77, really between Gold Hill, this is in York County, and exit 90, that's out towards Carowinds. Notice those inbound lanes, how slow they are moving. I mean, we're seeing jam-packed conditions. Yeah, a lot of people are heading in the same direction, but we're also seeing ponding right where those cars are actually driving. So as we switch it over to my map, all of this green is indicating where the roads are wet, but whenever we see blue, that's where we could have standing water. That takes us from Rock Hill, TKK, out towards areas like Rock Hill. So do keep this in mind. Even as we zoom it in, that's exactly where the ponding is. Up and down I-77. Notice we don't have any wrecks, but those pockets of yellows and oranges, that's where the rain could be coming down a little bit more intensely at times as well. So again, this is why I-77 here at Gold Hill looks like this. No crash, just a lot of people slowing it down, thankfully. Another thing I want to let you know about, though, it's on I-485. The outer loop right there is an accident. It's on Mount Holly Road. It's backed up to Brookshire Boulevard. I'm seeing a lot of red there, meaning that cars are at a stop and go at this point. And then off to the east, the Independence crash that I've been talking about for a while, it has since been cleared, but the backups on Independence are really starting to build. So allow for extra time to get to where you need to be. We'll have another check on those roads coming up here in a bit. Kaylin.
All right, Majestic, as we talk about those roads, we have seen that additional rain that can lead to more flooding concerns. And so we want to talk about that with our Richard Devane.
Yeah, he's been out this morning as he's been witnessing some of those creeks starting to fill up again. Richard, bring us up to speed what you're seeing out there.
Yeah, the rain has picked up. Good morning to you, Ben. Good morning, Kaylin. Good Wednesday morning, everyone. The rain has picked up. We'll take a look right here. As you can see, it's not as strong as it was yesterday at this time. But again, this is coming on the heels of what happened yesterday, which caused a lot of flood concerns, a lot of flooding around our area, even traffic concerns. Now, we've been monitoring the conditions out here, and we can tell you that this is just pretty much what could be day two of what people dealt with yesterday, which was those flash flooding that led to, as you already heard Majestic talk about, there were traffic disruptions already happening this morning as people are trying to get to work. That morning commute hampered by rain once again. Now, we kept everyone up to date yesterday on the conditions. We'll do that again today because this is definitely a weather alert day. Flash flooding warnings yesterday, we had them in Mecklenburg, Stanley, and York counties. That after that narrow band of rain dumped up to 5 inches in some parts of our viewing area, I should say. There was ankle-deep water reported across several roadways. We had traffic issues on 77, 85, 485, multiple accidents reported through the morning commute. Hopefully we won't get as many this morning, but folks need to be careful out there as they make their way in these wet conditions. Wilkinson Boulevard near Sam Wilson Road had some standing water. We've seen some heavy rain was in South Charlotte, as Rock Hill was also hit with some very heavy rain, as you heard Chris talk about one of its heaviest days of rain in recent memory. Residents we spoke to say they're going to spend the time cleaning up, also trying to dry out this as more rain is dumping down on top of them. Take a listen.
We live on a hill, and the water, I mean, just the rain and the rushing water down my driveway just has created some erosion. I'm concerned about that. I'm going to have that looked at and have it fixed, hopefully coming up soon. But I want to make sure it's something that's going to last. And if we get continued bad rainstorms, I want to make sure that it's not going to be something I have to rebuild every year.
My fiance woke up at like 8 o'clock, and it was probably about like not even halfway up the pole of where that sign was. And I got up and I came out here and it was a little bit lower, and now it is awful.
Yeah, and the folks are, of course, hoping that we don't have a repeat of what happened yesterday. One of the other things that we know, when the ground gets saturated with all of this rain, you can trees are usually able to be uprooted. Now, we don't have a lot of winds out here, but that's another thing that we have to be concerned about. Of course, we'll be paying attention to the flooding, the ponding on the side of the roads, and telling folks to be as careful as they can, and of course, paying attention to what our storm team has, our weather alert team has in store for you, trying to keep you safe in this inclement weather. We're right here in Matthews. This is Richard Vane. Send it back to you.
And we know Majestic has been very busy with the traffic impacts this morning, so you definitely want to take it slow if you're out there on the roads. Thank you so much, Richard.
All right, folks, keep it right here on WCNC Plus. Time now 8:11. Another check of your weather and traffic coming up in just 2 minutes.
Well, welcome back, everyone. To reiterate what Richard was saying, we hope that we don't have a repeat of yesterday, but there are a lot of similarities. Now, I don't think we're going to get another 5 inches of rain. We don't have that quite the setup. I think we'll have some lighter rain that'll really take over the majority of the time, but right now, we're still dealing with some very heavy rain. Now, at this time yesterday, we already had well over 1 inch of rain in Charlotte, over 2 inches of rain around Rock Hill, so we're about half of that. But still, we're up to about 3/4 of an inch around Charlotte for the most recent update for the 7 o'clock hour, and we're just adding more to it. So this darker green that you see here is at least up to about 1/10 of an inch per hour, but realistically getting up to these yellows and orange color could be anywhere from just 1/4 inch per hour and even up to 1 inch per hour, just depending how local they're going to be. But this persistent, consistent rain, look at all these little blue lines. Those are the creeks and streams across our area. I was just looking at different readings, say around the Little Sugar Creek. We are anticipating that is going to continue to rise. The biggest rise that I've seen is about 1 foot so far, so nothing that's too real threatening, but definitely stay off the greenways in the near term. Seeing widespread rain continue to push in, but at least the leading edge of this is the heaviest rain. Now we're just dealing with that light to moderate rain behind this, but that's still enough to really hold a higher level for those creeks and streams. Still a chance for some flooding and some flash flooding. We'll continue to keep you updated, but let's get over to your morning commute, which is going to be ever changing.
Good morning, everyone. We are seeing very wet conditions. You can see right here, this is I-85. Seems like cars are moving all right, at least right here. This is out towards Graham Street. Now, you will want to really allow for extra time if you are traveling on I-77 northbound. This is Gold Hill, so if you're coming in from South Carolina, York County, this is what it looks like. You can tell those cars are hardly moving, and believe it or not, we don't even have an accident right here, but here's what I'm watching. In that same exact area area, we're really starting to see a lot of ponding and that heavy rain, pockets of it. So it's not only heavy rain coming down, but it may even be reducing down visibility at times, and that makes sense. We're seeing the northbound lanes of I-77 really just crawl out towards Fort Mill, up towards Rock Hill, and then heading towards the Charlotte metro area. Again, this is what it looks like, hardly moving at this point, so make sure you are really driving with caution if you are heading northbound. Another thing I want to let you know about is, yeah, the rain's coming down, but up towards I-485, we do have a crash that's been reported. It's on the outer loop at Mount Holly Road. That's exit 14. The left lane just reopened, though, but there is still one lane that is currently closed. Ben.
All right, Jesse, thanks. 8:16 right now on WCNC Plus, and a live look right now over the White House, where the president's tariff deadline now just a little bit away. Lawmakers now scrambling to make deals as businesses and consumers brace for impact.
As ABC's Jay Gray tells us, the administration is trying to shift focus as new details tied to the Epstein files continue to emerge.
Now, inside 12 hours of President Trump's tariffs taking effect,
we made the greatest trade deals in the history of our country.
Not all of the deals are done. Negotiations with China, Switzerland, India, and others still in the mix. Uncertainty that leaves many worrying about who will ultimately pay the tab. Heavy equipment maker Caterpillar warning tariffs could bring a $1.5 billion bottom line loss. And Marriott citing tariffs in a drop of government and international travel to the U.S.
I try not to go over like $50 because that's kind of like my budget.
A new Associated Press poll shows a majority of Americans say the cost of groceries are now a major source of stress.
The idea that your fresh food is going to double or triple in price in a matter of days from when you previously purchased it, I think is a cause of concern for anyone.
And all of that unfolding as the White House also deals with growing pressure for transparency in the Jeffrey Epstein case. The president suggesting transcripts of a recent 9-hour Justice Department interview with Epstein associate and convicted sex offender Ghislaine Maxwell could soon be released. Her legal team, though, pushing back in a written statement saying whatever interest the public may have in Epstein, her legal options are viable and her due process rights remain. Maxwell currently appealing her conviction.
The ayes are 8, the nays are 2.
While the House Oversight Committee is now calling on the Justice Department to turn over all of its files on Epstein and Maxwell by August 19th. And let's get back to the tariffs for just a minute. The president says the rollout at midnight is just the start, promising more tariffs, some possibly at 200% or more, will be imposed on pharmaceuticals, he says, as well as semiconductors and chips, that coming in the next couple of weeks. Jay Gray, NBC News, Washington.
Busy time at the White House.
For sure. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break. We're back with another check of your forecast and traffic as you head out the door on this Wednesday morning right here on WCNC Plus.
It's another rough start to your morning, and Majestic will just show you how messy the morning commute is. But a lot of ponding across the area, significant ponding. So we're not quite to that flood status as of yet, but we already primed things from yesterday. And on top of that, depends where you are, seeing anywhere from 1/10 of an inch to up to an inch of rain per hour. Here's our roof cam on top of the beautiful WCNC. This is usually one of our best shots. Has a nice little zoom into the Queen City. Well, you can't see anything right now because those visibilities are way down. So regardless of flash flooding or not, it is not a nice morning. It is not a great drive. High temperatures will be a little bit warmer than yesterday, only up to 69 we got yesterday. Today it will be in the lower 70s, but we're holding on to that cloud cover for most of the day. I think we could have rain as late as noon to 1, but then after that, we're starting to clear things out. So the heaviest rain rates that I've seen so far have been about 5/100ths of an inch to 0.1 or 1/10 of an inch every 5 minutes. So that translates roughly to about a 1/2 inch to over an inch per hour. And it's not everywhere that we're seeing this. It was mainly some of these bands of heavy rain that's now crossing 521, heavy rain right around Concord, and there's some rumbles of thunder this time. That was the big difference yesterday. There were no thunderstorms associated with that rain. Now we're heading into stratiform precipitation. This is actually good news. So this is mainly anywhere from light to moderate rain. I don't really see the heavier pulses that we had yesterday. This still could lead to some problems, don't get me wrong, that you're picking up anywhere from 1/10 to 1/2 an inch per hour over the next few hours. So there's still a chance that we could have some flood advisories or a flash flood warning over the next 4 hours. But I think it's right now that we're dealing with some of the heavier rain pushing its way off towards the east and less coverage and less duration than what we had yesterday. So that's always good news. Here's the back edge of this system. A lot of cloud cover, so don't really expect too much sunshine unless you're in the Western Carolinas, and then that rain again should be cleared by the middle of the afternoon. Good news for you, that rain officially is coming down for the rest of the week. Only an isolated chance for rain Thursday and beyond. Back to scattered status though on Tuesday. Our temperatures also on the rise, so we're drying out, we're warming up. Expect our highs to return to the 80s by this coming weekend, even close to 90 degrees by next Wednesday. So Majestic, what's going on? It is a mess out there.
It's been messy along I-77, I-85. It is dreary, and those roads are becoming a little bit more problematic if you are heading out the door. Here's I-77 still. Now, for the most part, we're seeing just very wet conditions, but that slowdown is on still. We're looking at I-77 there at Gold Hill. In addition to that, this is I-85. Similar setup here. Cars are just traveling rather slowly this morning. We do have a lot going on. I want to get back to this because this is where roads are really jam-packed. I-77 between Gold Hill and Carowinds moving very slowly, and a lot of it has to do with the ponding that we're seeing out on those roads. One accident is actually not on I-77, it's just to the west of it. The left lane is blocked because of a crash. It's on Tryon Street, northbound at Shopton Road. That is still not cleared, and all of this blue is indicating where the ponding is, and all of this green here is indicating where the rain's coming down a little bit more intensely, which is exactly what we're seeing northbound heading on I-77. So take it easy as you're heading out the door. That's going to be a bit problematic for your morning commute. It's going to take you a little longer than it typically would. In addition to that, the outer loop of I-485, there was a crash there at exit 14. The left lane of the outer loop just reopened, so you can still get through it, but we are still seeing that red, so slowdowns are still ongoing.
All right, Majestic, thanks so much. We're going to take a quick break here, but keep it on WCNC Plus. At 8:26, we'll have another quick update on weather and traffic, and then we'll have more headlines coming up at 8:30. Stay with us.
Well, good morning, everybody. Here it is. We have the heaviest rain right now pushing into Weddington. So, boy, you're about to see things come down right through this stretch. Waxhaw, Weddington, over to Matthews. You're going to see a big uptick in the rain, just as Concord did in areas to the west right around Fort Mill. In the meantime, you're also dealing with on and off light to moderate rainfall from Newport up to Clover and Lake Wiley. That's going to be the rest of our morning, and then eventually the system is going to be getting out of here for a much better look at our forecast. Today is also the cooler day of the week, 73 degrees, and then we're back to the upper 70s going forward. But as far as the rain for today, I think it's really by noon that you are getting most of the rain out of the I-77 corridor, maybe a light lingering rain shower heading into the afternoon. But then by mid to late afternoon, we're fully clear across much of the greater Charlotte area. By the weekend, we're back to the mid 80s, even warming up close to 90 a week from today. But one of the bigger stories on top of the rain is the traffic this morning and its effects. Let's get over to Majestic.
Good morning, everyone. If you have someplace to be, you may want to allow for a few extra minutes to get there safely and just drive a little slower. Here's I-85 here. You can tell how wet it is out there for your Wednesday morning commute. It's a similar setup. This is I-77, but look at this backup. Really slow conditions between Gold Hill and Carowinds. Now, we are seeing ponding on those area roadways, especially in this area shaded in blue. That's right along I-77. One minor crash just off to the west of I-77. It's on Tryon Street, northbound at Shopton Road. Otherwise, take it easy as you're heading out the door. I-77 is moving very slow.
Happy Wednesday. You're watching WCNC Plus live here at 8:30 and taking a look now at I-77 in Fort Mill. You see traffic slowing down just a little bit. Folks responding to that very wet road conditions that they're experiencing out there. We are weather impact alert today, as well as a flash flood watch is in effect because of all of that heavy rain. Thanks for joining us for your news at 8:30. I'm Kaylin Hagwood.
And I'm Ben Thompson. Majestic and Chris both here at the desk with us. Goodness gracious, 2 mornings in a row. Right.
It's been a lot, and I've noticed this morning it's kind of that rain where it could be coming down very light, and then all of a sudden it's really, really heavy, and then you see the ponding on the roads, and then you see accidents, and it's a mess.
It is a mess.
Yeah.
I think that's the technical term for it, too.
Messy. gross weather as well. And I'm happy to say that the rain rates aren't as high as they were yesterday, luckily. But it's still a saturated soil, overwhelmed drains. So it's not a great situation. And our rainfall totals so far through this morning, and this is just leading over the last 12 hours, over an inch of rain has already dropped over in Rock Hill and 3/4 of an inch in Charlotte. And this is updated every hour. So most likely Charlotte is already now seeing close to an inch of rain so far this morning. Now, some values were upwards to about 5 through the morning hours alone. That's why we had such a big rise in Little Sugar Creek and surrounding areas in a very short amount of time. Now, that could still be a slight rise. I've seen some of our creeks rise up as much as a foot. That's the biggest one that I've seen. But then sometimes it could take a couple of hours. And the thing is, this rain event is still going to be ongoing. Even though you don't see as many of the oranges and the yellows here on our Doppler radar, it's still going to be a big time rain event, and a duration is a big winner of this. So I actually want to show you the radar from yesterday versus today. So this is right now. This is where the radar is. Still some heavier rain pushing into Providence, and then Weddington going to be impacted by that, and you're probably already noticing the difference. Here's the radar yesterday from about 7 to 10 o'clock. Notice that 1, it's not moving as much. 2, you're seeing a lot more yellows and those oranges. And it was at this point that we were starting to see a big rise in our creeks and streams. So zooming out, we also had a much wider band of this rain. So if you compare yesterday's radar from the 7 to 10 o'clock hour to what we have right now, it's a very similar setup, but it's actually less intense. So that's some good news for you. Sometimes weather's all about comparison and pattern recognition. So I just want to let you know, not discounting the rain that we're seeing today, it's just not as epic. So we're not going to get to that 5-inch mark, but we've already had an inch of rain so far. This sticks around for another 4 hours. Some areas could still be in the range of 2 to 3 inches, and that means upwards to 5 to 8 inches of rain fell across our area in a 2-day span. We don't need any more rain after this, trust me. Here's a look at our futurecast. I have to keep on grid adjusting, and that simply means is I can move this from east to west, north to south. I can bring up its percentage, and then I can also change its timing, because the models haven't been really picking up on the real time as far as these systems are going, as they're expanding and slowing down. This one's different than yesterday. Yesterday, we saw the system slow down as it drew towards the I-77 corridor. I've actually seen this pick up by about 5 miles per hour. That might not seem like a big difference, but in the weather world and for rain intensities, it is. Once you get to about noon, the problem is the leading edge of this actually has a little bit more convection. So that means a better chance for thunderstorms, which would be some heavier rain rates. We were starting to see that, and some of us might have even heard a rumble of thunder within the last hour or so. So that means there are our eastern zones around Albemarle, Stanley County, actually Anson and Richmond County, along with Stanley County, you're under a flash flood watch because your rain rates could be a lot higher. So we're actually shifting the chance for flash flooding a little bit further off towards the east. Again, not discounting what we could see around the Charlotte area, but it definitely looks to be a lot less than what some of our friends further off towards the east might have, even though they barely saw anything yesterday. So today's high is 73 degrees. Going forward, we're warming up each and every day, finally getting out of this October-like pattern, making it a little bit more September-like, and then eventually we're back to normal by about day 8 of the forecast. It has been an interesting 8 o'clock hour, to say the least, as far as that rain is concerned. Let's get over to Majestic. What a morning. A mess, as you put it.
Exactly. I mean, we're seeing messy conditions no matter if you're driving in North or South Carolina this morning. So here we go. As you're heading out the door, allow for extra time to get to where you need to be and simply just drive a little slower. We're seeing just wet conditions. This is I-77 across York County, really seeing those backups now continuing to build. This is I-85 out towards Graham Street still. There was a couple of accidents. We didn't have a camera on it, but it is slowing people down this morning southbound on I-85. Again, want to get to this. This is I-77 at Gold Hill, and we can see how slow the traffic is moving. It's specifically between Gold Hill and Carowin, so a couple of miles of slow moving conditions. And here's a big reason why. You see all of that blue right there? That's where we're seeing ponding, so standing water across the area roadways, as still the rain is coming down. So at least people are slowing down. It's not a wreck, it's just more people heading in the same direction. Where we do have one wreck, it's right here just west of I-77. The left lane is blocked because of a crash. It's on Tryon Street northbound at Shopton Road. We'll have another check on those roads coming up in just a couple of minutes. Kaylin.
All right, Majestic, thanks so much. Right now, Mecklenburg County leaders are weighing some decisions that could impact your wallet. County commissioners are considering raising the sales tax, and they want to hear your thoughts on this later tonight. Now, this does not come as a surprise. It's something we've been talking about for some time, and really what they want is your vote. WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards has been following this story, and Destiny, break it down for us.
Yeah, so Mecklenburg County commissioners are going to be holding a public hearing tonight, basically on this proposal to raise the local sales tax by 1%. And then after that, they're not voting on the tax referendum itself, but they'll be deciding whether this should go on the November ballot for Mecklenburg County voters to decide. Now, this is all coming from the recently passed PAVE Act, and if approved by voters this fall, the sales tax rate would rise to 8.25%. The county says the money would fund road improvements, expanded light rail and better bus service, and a new regional transit authority would manage most of the funding. Local leaders say it could open the door for even bigger expansion.
We will now have the opportunity for the entire county to back not only CATS, but the rest of the transportation system. There will be opportunities for expansion. There will be opportunities for some of our neighboring counties to come and join potentially.
Tonight's Board of County Commissioners meeting is at 5 o'clock with the public hearing starting at 6:30. If you want to be a part of it, it's happening at the Charlotte Mecklenburg Government Center in Uptown. Ben, Kaylin.
And we just heard the Mayor Pro Tem touch on this, but I don't think the city nor the county or state lawmakers for that matter are making the case that this is a perfect plan, but it's from where they stand a start and that something that can be improved on over the years.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely not like, a hard and fast locked in, they have a full plan on how this is going to be implemented, but they definitely want to put it in the hands of Mecklenburg County voters. Whenever you vote for your local races this November 5th, then you'll see at the end the sales tax referendum, it'll be for or against adding these different road projects. Again, what those road projects will be, that is still to come. But we do know that there's a regional transit authority that will be making the decisions on how that funding is going to be used. So definitely a lot that we'll be following up on as we get closer to November 5th, and then once this actually passes, or if it doesn't pass.
And we should say, per state law that was passed, the Red Line commuter rail from Uptown up to North Mecklenburg, that gets priority over every other project. So we know that will happen first and foremost. All right, Destiny Richards reporting live for us here in Charlotte. Destiny, thanks.
All right, we're going to take a quick break here, but when we come back, we're going to talk to you about ways that you can get your kids some after-school care. That and more coming up.
Streaming live at 8:41 right now on WCNC Plus, and as back to school season starts, some parents might be thinking about their after school options.
Well, the YMCA does offer after-school programs and transportation services for those who need them. WCNC Charlotte's Bria Smith has more on how you can sign up. Bria.
That's right, Kaylin. The after-school program is offered at 11 of the Charlotte region YMCAs, with registration now open to students.
We know that childcare is just a really big need for families across the Charlotte area, and so I would say that we have put a lot of attention into building a really high-quality program and also making sure that it's affordable for families.
A quality program that offers parents flexibility and children the opportunity to continue growing outside the classroom.
We do offer homework time for our students, but we also spend a lot of our time just on the fun stuff that kids look forward to. So we're getting them outside in the fresh air, we are playing games, we're doing art projects. We're really trying to provide a lot of enrichment to really make sure that when they get out of school, they're just being kids and having a great time with us.
Amanda Wilkinson is the VP of Youth and Family Experience for the YMCA Charlotte area. She says the program also works closely with local school districts to provide transportation. However, to schedule a bus pickup from a school, there must be a minimum of 5 students from that school.
In order to enroll, it's really simple for parents. You can see all of our locations online. You would find the location that matches your child's neighborhood and school and register online. If you have any questions at all about whether your child's school buses to our Y, our team can definitely help families navigate that to confirm that transportation can be provided.
All right, Bria, also they have some programs for not just the day-to-day use that everybody might need, a lot of families, but also for those special occasions that people don't always plan for.
Exactly. And to add to that, they do offer scholarship programs to help with those program fees and application fees. So if you're someone who needs those after-school program services, definitely visit our WCNC Plus app to find out how and more about those scholarships. Back to you guys.
Bria, thank you. Speaking of back to school, we are teaming up with United Way for a school supply drive to help students in need.
WCNC Charlotte's Larry Sprinkle shows us how your donation can make a difference.
It's that time of year again. Excitement is in the air as students get ready to climb aboard those school buses and head back to class. But for many local students, the start of school also means worrying about having enough school supplies. The good news, United Way of Greater Charlotte is teaming up with WCNC Charlotte to help change that.
One thing that we know is that the agencies who we fund who are working directly with families in our 4-county footprint, one thing that we all agree on is that children need tools and resources to start their year off.
Jamise Ivy is the Chief Impact Officer at United Way.
Our funded partners, we have realized 25% of them do directly work with children, and that might be after school programming, that may be tutoring, just enrichment that we know that students need for school, and they all come back to us and say that a lot of our families in our 4-county footprint really do need those tools like the school supplies.
The organization is committed to equipping students with the tools and resources they need to learn, grow, and thrive. One of their partner agencies is the Academy of Goal Achievers. Courtney Goebel shares how rising school supply costs are impacting older students.
Usually those expenses are increased. You go from getting a pencil that your child may need in elementary school to now you get in high school and the expenses increase. Not only just school supplies, but now they're competing against school supplies, athletics with sports. Parents are having more money come out of their pockets to make sure their students can get the full bus of education, and school supplies is one of the most important things.
The Academy of Goal Achievers has touched the lives of thousands through its youth service initiatives.
And we know we can send Goal Achievers back to school with their school supplies. Our students are going to be more engaged. They're going to be more prone to complete their school assignments, and they're going to walk into school doors with more confidence. And that's exactly what we want.
You can make a difference. Your donation today can help students start the school year strong and stay on track for a bright future.
Yeah, you're helping families that cares about education. You are helping families that need the support, that want to make sure that their students go to school with the most confidence, increase their grades, because too, that you go to schools with the supplies you need, your kid's going to do their work.
Visit our website, WCNC.com, to find a special link to give. At United Way, I'm Larry Sprinkle, WCNC Charlotte.
And don't forget, we're going to be hosting a phone bank for our supply drive from 11 to 12:30 and then from 4 to 6:30. We'd love to have you give us a call to make a donation.
And just moments ago, Chris telling us that the Little Sugar Creek is up 3 feet in the last 30 minutes to give you some indication of just how bad the rain is out there. He's got another check of your forecast. And Majestic has more on your commute coming up in 2 minutes.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Here's what I was talking about. So the Little Sugar Creek right here at 4th Street. Notice how close it is to starting to flood over the Greenway. This is right near Elizabeth Park. 3-foot rise in about 35 minutes. And we're continuing to see these slowly stair step up. Not as big of a rise as what we had yesterday, nor do we have that heavier rain. Now, there is one difference today. We actually have some thunderstorms. So thank goodness that we don't have as widespread moderate rain as we did yesterday, because thunderstorms on top of yesterday's rain would have been an absolutely epic situation. Not saying that some areas didn't see some really historic flooding, or at least top 5 in some locations, but you're actually hearing some thunder out there and some frequent lightning now starting to form right around Weddington over to Wesley Chapel, Indian Trail. This is going to be on your doorstep here in the next 10 minutes or so. Meanwhile, for those rain rates, they're all over the place. The darker green represents over 1/10 of an inch per hour, still enough to keep those streams higher. The 1/4 inch precipitation rate, a little bit closer to Matthews. And this swath of rain where we have a thunderstorm over 1 inch per hour, that's the usual rate that we usually have for a thunderstorm, at least those peaks. And the good news behind this, we're seeing a lot less yellows and some drier air. Looks like it's trying to work into this. So this area is actually starting to weaken. So by the end of the morning, we are anticipating that this should be out of here. So the I-77 corridor anticipating at least a light rain heading up until about noon. Then after that, I think we're in the clear. So check out our futurecast, moving us out by about 10 o'clock to about noon, that we're clearing across the 485 loop. Some lingering showers on the back end of this potentially could move back in for the overnight into tomorrow. And tomorrow, here comes the sun, dootin'. We're pretty excited for the sunshine to finally come back out after a couple of cloudy days and cooler days, to say the least. We're in the 60s right now. It's still October-like. This is rocking the mid-October highs in the lower 70s. Still holding on to overcast skies, even though I think the rain chances are done by at least the early to mid-afternoon for most of us. The areas east, I would say a little bit closer to, say, around Stanley, Albemarle, over to Wadesboro. You're likely going to have rain as late as 3 3 to 4 o'clock. And then on the backside of this system, we can expect a little bit of a warm up with that sunshine. That makes all the difference. So for a 7-day forecast, you can see that weather alert is mainly for the first half of the day, because outside of that, once you get into the afternoon, I think most of that rain is clearing off towards the east. Panthers preseason game looking to be a little bit brighter, a little bit warmer and sunnier. By the weekend, we're back to the 80s, and then heading into next week, even challenging 90 degrees again. So it's taken a while to get back to normal, the normal hot, but if you enjoy these cooler temperatures or even a cloudier day, this is for you. I know Majestic's not a big fan of the cloudy days, but I know you're definitely not a fan of a commute like this.
No, it makes for a difficult morning commute, that's for sure. It's already a busy time of the day for many people as they're heading out the door. Things can become a little bit chaotic. We are seeing some slowdowns on I-85. We are continuing to follow that very carefully. I-77 as well. We have a mixed bag of accidents, and also just road conditions are not the best for us this morning because of those accidents and also because of the weather. We're watching for more ponding that's continuing across the area. That's making for difficult commute for many of us. Let me switch it over to this. We're going to get to this 4-box, the I-77 York County cameras, showing you that it is going to be slow moving, especially out towards Gold Hill. That's where we have seen some significant slowdowns. In addition to that, you see all this blue right here? That's where we are seeing some ponding, standing water out on those area roadways, which could quickly lead to some hydroplaning. So make sure you're taking it easy, slow it down, allow for extra drive time to get to where you need to be. The left lane right now is blocked because of a crash. It's on Tryon Street northbound at Shopton Road. That's where some heavier pockets of rain is currently coming down. And then I've been following this one for a while. 2 lanes are blocked because of a crash. It's on I-85 northbound and Brookshire Boulevard. So again, this is what we're following. 2 lanes blocked on I-85 northbound at exit 36. So a big slowdown right there. That's one of our newer things. In addition to that, you see this dark green right here. This is where some of the heavier rain is currently falling. The 485 loop out towards Pineville. Keep this in mind. Much of the same out towards I-77. And really, this is kind of tracking to the north and to the east slowly, but it's heading up towards Matthews, where we do have some of that heavier rain coming down just east of Waxhaw and Weddington. So if you are traveling this morning, slow down, because this is what it's looking like outside. This is I-77. Again, Gold Hill, we don't have a crash here. People are just moving rather slowly. Probably good, though. Not in a big rush to get anywhere between Gold Hill and Carowinds. That's where we are seeing that significant slowdown. We'll have another check on those roads all coming up here in a bit.
All right, Majestic. Time for your morning boost. It's National Root Beer Float Day. The creamy treat was created by Frank Wisner in 1893. And legend has it, he looked up at a full moon shining over a snow-capped mountain and was instantly inspired. Since then, hundreds of thousands of root beer floats have been enjoyed around the country. Yum. And with the help of the Charlotte area Hyundai dealers, we are looking for our next hometown hero. We're recognizing your everyday hero, someone who goes above and beyond to make the community a better place. If you have someone in mind, just visit WCNC.com/hometownhero between now and August 17th to nominate them. If they win, they'll get a brand new 2025 Hyundai Santa Fe. Now let's take a live look here at our live Impact studio. Jay Monreal is going to be taking over here in just a moment over there with more breaking news and live headlines. But first, another check of your weather and traffic coming up on the other side of the break. Have a great day.
Ooh, welcome to another wet one to start out the day. Still a chance for some flooding. Stay away from the greenways because I already see a 3-foot rise here at Little Sugar Creek at 4th Street. That happened in about a 35-minute period. Also seeing like Irwin Creek, that's risen up about 1.5 to 2 feet over the last 25 minutes. So the water is starting to wash down and catch up to things. The good news is we're starting to see some drier air work into the back side of this thing. So we are anticipating, I think, the heaviest rain to continue to push its way further off towards the northeast, and then light to moderate rain will eventually taper off later on this morning. Now the heaviest rain right around Weddington, so stay dry later on today and warmer the rest of the week. Majestic, what's going on this morning?
All right, let's get you out to I-85 at Glenwood. We are seeing some of those cars that were moving very slowly. It seems like they're picking back up some speed, but we have had multiple accidents this morning, so if you do have some place to be, drive slow out there. A couple of things to let you know about. We are seeing ponding out on those roads, which is making for difficult travel. 2 lanes right now, they are blocked because of a crash. It's on I-85 northbound at exit 36. That's Brookshire Boulevard. Have a safe travel.